Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope that you've all had a really fantastic day. After all that food though, why not sit by the fire and get comfortable with me and two of my very good friends as we let the darkness take control. 2 years ago, my family had our first family Christmas at my grandmother's house, since my great-grandfather had passed away. There was definitely a somber tone to the otherwise festive gathering, as he was a big part of our family get-togethers. Fast forward a couple of hours into the night. My uncle, who is a bit of a shit-stirrer with a twisted sense of humor, starts poking fun at silly little things my great-grandfather used to do. It began harmless, but of course, he took it too far and started making fun of pretty rude things, like the fact that he had a hard time chewing his food near the end of his life. Pretty horrible, I know, but like I said, he was a family shit stirrer. As soon as that statement left his mouth, the craziest thing I have ever experienced happened. My grandmother has a bookshelf in the living room, the very same room that we were all situated in. One of the shelves, the second shelf from the top, was almost a mini shrine to my great-grandfather, with pictures of him and his tobacco pipe, etc. Well, everything on the shelf went flying off. Literally, they shot across the room and fell to the floor as if someone threw them. The weirdest part was nothing on any of the other shelves was touched. Just the stuff on the shelf dedicated to my great-grandpa. No one was besides the shelf, and there were no windows open. Needless to say, my uncle was scared shitless and bolted out the room as we sat there stunned. I have no logical explanation for what happened that night, but we do like to say it was our grandfather telling my uncle to smarten up one last time.
Every year around the holidays, there is a Christmas tree raffle in my hometown. Every year, my mother enters the raffle and does not win a tree. Even though she never wins, she still plays. The money goes to some good cause or another. This year was like any other. She takes my sister and my niece down to the raffle. They see a few trees worth winning: the Patriots tree, the tiny Charlie Brown tree, and the tree that she thinks her granddaughters might like to see in her home. That night, my mom dreamt she got a phone call from her father. Now in real life, my grandfather has been dead for 7 years. He says to her, "Your mother won a tree," talking about my grandmother, who is still alive. She replies, "But Dad, Mom didn't buy any raffle tickets." "Fine," he responds, a little irritated. "You won a tree." The next day, my mom is all excited. She tells my sister that Grandpa told her in a dream that she would win a tree this year. She picks up my sister and my niece and they drive back to the raffle to load raffle tickets under the one tree that they really want to win, the New England Patriots tree. The next day, she gets a call from the raffle people. She won a tree, but they say that she has to come get it right now. Excitedly, she races down to the raffle to claim her prize. She looks around the lot. No Patriots tree. After some frustrated searching, she figures out that she won the tiny Charlie Brown Christmas tree that she only dropped one raffle ticket under during the first visit. On her way out to the car, she admires the tree. She thinks to herself that the little tree will look perfect in the little bay window by the kitchen. Then, the thought pops into her head. Her father's call from the night before. Your mother won a tree. She realizes at that moment that she is holding a Christmas gift from a husband to his widowed wife.
This happened to my family when I was around 12. We live in a small, close-knit southwestern town. My house is a pretty small one-story and about 100 years old. It's the usual family of 4. My parents, me, and my younger brother, by about 5 years. We used to leave our front door unlocked, mostly because we didn't think anything could ever happen in our town. It's Christmas night, so we all went to bed early since we're more of a Christmas Eve type of family. Me and my younger brother had each gotten $200 in cash from my grandpa to help pay for summer camps as a Christmas gift, and it was sitting in my mum's desk drawer inside her very tiny office. At some point during the night, that money was stolen, along with my mother's car, which was promptly crashed down the street. I was asleep in the living room couch, which is right next to our front door. It's also important to note that our front door is loud. It's made of this really old wood and is extremely heavy, and so it creaks almost every time you open it. Our 2 back doors were locked, so they must have come through the front. So basically, whoever it was must have walked in barefoot to get into the house. That's kind of creepy and off-putting. But what really gets to me is my mum's car. My mum keeps her keys in her jacket pocket, which hangs inside my parents' bedroom, on the wall across from their door. Again, you have to walk within a foot of my parents' bed to even get there. But even if my parents had slept through a nearby intruder, how did they know where my mother kept her keys? Or where she hung her jacket every night? It's not an obvious spot to put your keys, and they apparently knew exactly where to go. Even grabbing the cash from the desk drawer makes noise. A lot of people keep important things in there. The car thing, though, just doesn't add up. They crashed it right down the street, literally into the telephone pole at the end of our street. So we figure that they were probably drunk, which raises even more questions. How are they able to open our super loud door and walk right past me without me even noticing? And how are they able to steal cash on my mum's keys right under our noses? Both my mother and I assume it's probably someone that we knew, but we have no idea who, and we probably never will. Regardless, creepy Christmas robber, let's never meet again.
My grandfather suffered from Alzheimer's disease and passed away 2 days before Thanksgiving. My grandmother is now living alone, so my mom has spent a lot of time over there, keeping her company and helping her out around the house. As she usually does, she went to her house on Christmas Day to go with my grandmother to church before the rest of the family got there. And while my grandmother was getting ready, my mom was in the kitchen on her phone checking Facebook. Suddenly, out of nowhere, this old Christmas music box in one of the bedrooms started playing by itself. It was the very last part of the melody to Silent Night, Sleep in Heavenly Peace. It played that one line at normal speed and just stopped before it could loop. I'm a skeptic, and no music boxes can do this for various reasons, but hearing that it only played that one line makes me want to believe that it was my grandfather, letting his family know that he was at peace and no longer suffering. I just wanted to share that story because even if it was just the mechanism becoming unjammed, it gave my mom a feeling of peace and relief when it happened. Either way, the story both touched and freaked me out at the same time. Hearing that would have given me goosebumps.
My fiancé and I were enjoying a nice relaxing evening at home on Christmas Eve. The cable had randomly gone out, so it was quiet whilst we tried to fix it. Our living room has 2 large windows looking out at the streets and driveway, and our door also has a large oval window in it. We live on a dead-end street with a few neighbours. While fixing the cable, a truck screeches into our driveway, and 2 men immediately get out screaming, "Hey, it's us!" I initially groaned, thinking it was my fiancé's annoying cousin and friends randomly showing up. That's until my fiancé bolts into the back room. The men have then gotten onto the porch, and one of them is staring at me from the large window and banging on it, and the other is pulling at the door and looking in. They're screaming at us to let them in, and it's not friendly. I'm sure they didn't know us. Our house couldn't be confused for any other on the road either. My fiancé is back near the door, and he tells them to leave. I see he went to retrieve his pistol, and I kind of inch off the couch and go around behind to find somewhere to hide. I yell that I'm calling the cops, and they back off a little towards the driveway. But as soon as I move in front of the door, they're calling back, screaming to be let in, trying for the door and window. They keep shouting their names for some odd reason, but we didn't know them and had never seen them before. I call 911 and keep an eye out on the other window. They're backing off again, but not before telling us in a very creepy and threatening voice to have a Merry Christmas. They pull out very fast out of our driveway and book it down the road. Thankfully, we never saw them again, and hopefully, we never will. Hey guys, it's Mort here, and thank you so much for listening. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to my great friends Being Scared and Killer Orange Cat for their narrations in today's video. I've also helped in their Christmas videos, which should be on screen now. So, why not check them out? Merry Christmas to you all, and I'll see you in the next one.